Some moments seem far too small to change the way we feel. A phone lights up, a short message appears, and somehow, within a second, your whole body feels different. Your shoulders relax, your breathing becomes a little softer, and the day suddenly doesn't seem quite as heavy anymore. What's interesting is that nothing has actually changed. The relationship is still uncertain. You still don't know where you stand. You still don't know when you'll hear from him again. But for a brief moment, it feels as if everything is okay. Earlier that same day, someone else sent you a thoughtful message. He wished you good morning, asked how your meeting went, and reminded you to drive home safely. You smiled, appreciated the kindness, and quietly continued with your day. But somehow, the message that simply said, "Sorry, I've been busy," stayed with you much longer. Our brains can be wonderfully dramatic sometimes. Give them one confusing text message, and they'll happily spend the rest of the evening investigating a mystery that may not even exist. I'm Dr. Maya, and today, I'd like us to investigate something that quietly shapes far more relationships than most people realize. Why can emotional uncertainty feel so addictive? And why do we sometimes mistake the feeling of relief for the feeling of love? Imagine meeting two different people around the same time. One of them is easy to be with. Conversations flow naturally, messages arrive when you expect them, and you never find yourself wondering what they really meant or whether you've somehow said the wrong thing. Around this person, your mind stays surprisingly quiet, and life simply continues. The other person is different. Sometimes they're warm, curious, and completely present. Then, without any obvious reason, they disappear into silence. A reply that usually takes minutes suddenly takes hours, and a conversation that felt effortless yesterday somehow feels different today, even though you can't quite explain why. Without even noticing, your brain quietly opens a brand new investigation. You read the same conversation again. A single period at the end of a sentence suddenly feels like evidence. Why a period? Why not a smiley face? Did something change? It's remarkable how confidently the mind can build an entire documentary from one punctuation mark. Then you notice they're online. Of course, you're not checking whether they're online. You're simply looking at the time. It just so happens that the time is always displayed directly underneath their name. Meanwhile, the emotionally available person hasn't done anything wrong. They're kind. They're consistent. They remember the little things you tell them. They show up when they say they will, and somehow, they rarely occupy your thoughts in quite the same way. At first, it seems as though one person created stronger chemistry. But sometimes, the most convincing explanation isn't the true one. Over the next few days, something almost invisible begins to happen. Life goes on exactly as it always has. You go to work, answer emails, meet friends, make dinner, and somehow, a part of your mind never fully leaves the conversation on your phone. You don't spend every minute thinking about them. It's much stranger than that. Your attention quietly drifts back whenever there's a free moment. Standing in line for coffee, waiting for the elevator, brushing your teeth, your brain gently suggests, maybe check your phone, just in case. It always presents this as a perfectly reasonable idea, as though the previous 12 checks were simply part of a very thorough research project. And the interesting part is that this doesn't usually feel like anxiety. It feels like curiosity, like hope, like you're simply thinking about someone you like. Then the message finally arrives. Your shoulders soften, your breathing changes. You smile without even realizing it. For a brief moment, the noise inside your mind becomes quiet. If we pause the story right here, most people would probably say, she must really like him. And honestly, that would seem like a perfectly reasonable conclusion. Let's slow this down together. there's one small detail we've been walking past this entire time. Imagine watching this relationship without reading a single message. You don't know what he wrote. You don't know whether it was romantic, thoughtful, or completely ordinary. You're only allowed to watch her. She checks her phone. Nothing. She checks again. Still nothing. Her shoulders grow tighter. She struggles to focus on work. Part of her attention is somewhere else. The waiting slowly fills the room. Then the phone lights up before she even reads the message. She exhales. That's the moment I find most interesting. Not what he said, what happened inside her. Because the message didn't create love, it ended uncertainty. And once you notice that, something quietly falls into place. Maybe she wasn't waiting for him. Maybe she was waiting for relief. So now we have a different question. If that feeling was relief, why did it feel so much like love? Here's something I've noticed. Most of us have picked up our phone at least once, not because it vibrated, but just in case it had. It's such a strangely human habit. We almost never notice we're doing it. The interesting part isn't the phone. It's what the waiting is doing. When something feels predictable, your attention relaxes. You don't spend all afternoon wondering if your closest friend still likes you. You assume she'll answer when she can. Healthy relationships are often wonderfully uneventful, but uncertainty keeps asking your attention to come back. Not because it's love, because the story still feels unfinished. So, when the message finally arrives, your body relaxes. Not because you found certainty forever, only because, for a moment, the waiting has stopped. So, how can you tell the difference? If relief and love can feel so similar, what are you actually supposed to trust? I've found it helpful to ask a different question. Not, how do I feel when they finally text? But how do I usually feel between the messages? Because that's where the relationship spends most of its life. Not in the exciting moments, in the ordinary ones. Do you feel mostly peaceful or mostly uncertain? Can you enjoy your own day without constantly checking whether something has changed? It's funny how waiting quietly changes our behavior. We tell ourselves we're making coffee, and somehow the phone comes with us. We fold laundry with it nearby. We carry it into another room, not because we expect something every second, just because, what if this is the moment? A healthy relationship doesn't remove every moment of uncertainty. We're all busy sometimes. We all have difficult days, but over time, it gives your nervous system fewer reasons to stay on guard. And here's something I think is easy to forget. Calm doesn't always feel exciting at first. Sometimes it feels almost unfamiliar. Understanding a pattern doesn't make it disappear overnight, but it does change something important. For the first time, you can notice the difference between waiting for a person and waiting for relief. So here's a small experiment I'd love you to try this week. The next time you catch yourself checking your phone, don't stop yourself. Just pause for one breath, then ask yourself, what am I hoping will change in the next few seconds? Don't judge the answer, just notice it. Sometimes the answer will be, I hope they text. Sometimes it will be something much quieter. I hope this feeling finally goes away. And those are not always the same thing. If you'd like to continue this investigation, I've created a free 20-minute relationship investigation workbook. It's designed to help you understand the emotional pattern behind one real relationship situation and discover one small change that can make future conversations feel different. You'll find the link in the description below. There's an old Stoic idea that says we suffer less when we stop arguing with reality and begin understanding it. I think the same is true in relationships. Understanding doesn't immediately change your feelings. It changes the way you meet them. And that's often where real change begins. Thank you for investigating human nature with me. I'll see you in the next story.